Good day everyone. Today we will discuss about the environment, land, and its biogeochemical cycle, which is the sedimentary cycle and the phosphorus cycle. To start it up, I will give some overview about this cycle. First, we have the sedimentary cycle. It includes those of iron, calcium, phosphorus, sulfur, and other more earth-bound elements. This cycle varies from one element to another, but each cycle consists fundamentally of a solution or water-related phase and a rock or sediment phase. Next is we have the phosphorus cycle. The phosphorus cycle is a mineral that circulates in the cycle through rocks, water, soil, sediments, and living things. Phosphate ions and other minerals are released into the atmosphere as a result of rain and weathering. The biogeochemical cycle describes the movement of phosphorus through the lithosphere, hydrosphere, and biosphere.
Is it amazing when you gaze into heights of rock formation or when the palm of your feet touch fine sands? It is almost like has become too difficult to believe or imagine where these wonders came from. In times when your mind drifts off, wonder where beautiful land formation and fine sands, even muds, clays came from. Think of a biogeochemical cycle called sedimentation cycle. Elements flow from land to water and the sedimentary rocks. These reservoirs for sedimentary biogeochemical cycle are found in earth crust. Sedimentation cycle are the process that occurs during the weathering of rock of the erosion of mineral to circulate the mineral back into the environment. There are two phases to the mineral cycle in the sedimentary cycle. The first one is the salt solution phase and the second one is the rock phase. Mineral salts are derived directly from Earth's crust through weathering and salt solution phase. The water cycle then begins with soluble salt. The mineral travel from the soil to stream, lakes, finally to the sea, where they remain indefinitely.
As said earlier, sedimentation cycles stand as a reservoir near its crust. Although in sedimentary cycles, nutritional components may become trapped in the reservoir pool, and various environmental conditions influence the rate at which sedimentary cycle minerals are released. Through the process of weathering, elements such as iron, sulfur, phosphorus, potassium, and calcium are released from the lithosphere's nutrients that are found in the Earth's crust or rocks. Sediment isn't necessarily the most visible element when it comes to an ecosystem, but sediments like sands, silts, and clays are the building blocks of soils and landforms, allowing them to carry nutrients, stimulate chemical reactions, and affect an ecosystem's physical environment and biological activities. Through time, humans have been an intervening factor in sedimentation, and there are two types of sedimentation activities: land-based and water-based. Retention behind dams, bank or beach protection measures, and water diversions are some of the common causes of sediment depletion. Due to morphological changes in vast marine systems, natural sediment erosion and sedimentation patterns can also vary. As an example, changes in the size and shape of a body of water will result in changing of water flow patterns, which will result in erosion or sediment removal from sensitive areas.
So now let's move on phosphorus cycle. Phosphorus is essential for all life on Earth. The cycle of phosphorus in the environment includes a geological long-term cycle, and a biological, short-term terrestrial and aquatic cycle. The phosphorus cycle differs from other nutrient cycles because phosphorus has no major atmospheric components to its cycle. The amount of phosphorus available for biological uptake is relatively small, which limits productivity in many terrestrial and aquatic ecosystems. Because of the limited availability of phosphorus in the environment, plants have evolved strategies to conserve phosphorus taken up from the soil. Phosphorus is mined from phosphate rock and guano deposits, although the latter are rapidly being depleted and is used for a wide range of purposes, including the manufacture of detergents, fertilizers, and food additives. In agricultural system, phosphorus is removed from the soil in crops and animal products, so must be replaced to avoid phosphorus deficiency. Phosphorus deficiency is widespread on a global scale, notably in Australia, South Africa, and parts of South America. To maintain soil phosphorus at levels required to maintain crop yields, mineral phosphate fertilizer is applied to the land, along with other essential plant nutrients including nitrogen and potassium.
How does the phosphorus cycle works? Phosphorus moves in a cycle through rocks, water, soil, sediments, and organisms. Here are the key steps of the phosphorus cycle. Over time, rain and weathering causes rocks to release phosphate ions and other minerals. This inorganic phosphate is then distributed in soils and water. Plants take up inorganic phosphate from the soil. The plants may then be consumed by animals. Once in the plant or animal, the phosphate is incorporated into organic molecules such as DNA. When the plant or animal dies, it decays, and the organic phosphate is returned to the soil. Within the soil, organic forms of phosphate can be made available to plants by bacteria that break down organic matter into inorganic forms of phosphorus. This process is known as mineralization. Phosphorus in the soil can end up in waterways and eventually oceans. Once there, it can be incorporated into sediments over time.
When we talk about air or water pollution, the reaction garnered are stronger. This is because we can see the effects caused by pollutants and their extent very clearly. It is normal human psychology to believe in what you see firsthand. Our land, on the other hand, is living a nightmare too. We may not be able to see the effects with clarity, but the land is polluted and abused constantly, and we are unable to calculate damage occurred. Land pollution has emerged to become one of the serious concerns that we collectively battle. Land pollution, in the other words, degradation or destruction of the Earth's surface and soil, directly and indirectly, as a result of human activities. Anthropogenic activities are conducted citing development, and the same affects the land drastically as we witness land pollution. By drastic, we are referring to any activity that lessens the quality or productivity of the land as an ideal place for agriculture, forestation, construction, etc. The degradation of the land that could be used constructively, in other words, is land pollution. So, what activities do humans do that contribute to land pollution? Well, one of them is over fertilization. With a growing human population, the demand for food has increased considerably. Farmers often use high amounts of toxic fertilizers and pesticides to get rid of insects, fungi, and bacteria in their crops.
Another human activity that contributes to land pollution is mining. During extraction and mining activities, several land spaces are created beneath the surface. We constantly hear about land caving in, which is nothing but nature's way of filling the spaces left out after mining or extraction activity. Mining phosphate rocks can also speed up the process of delivery of phosphates to bodies of water like oceans, if mined areas are not reclaimed. Leaving exposed phosphates makes it easier to be weathered or eroded, putting excessive amounts of phosphates in bodies of water. So why is it bad to have an abundance of phosphates in bodies of water? Well, that's because of algae growth. Having more phosphates in water means more food for algae, resulting in an algae bloom. And because of the increase in algae in the water, the amount of oxygen present in the water decreases. This makes the water starve in oxygen and kills off those aquatic life that relies on oxygen for respiration. According to Bielo, 2008, there were 405 dead zones identified in 2008, which are oceanic zones where the amount of oxygen is too low to support life.
In the info video that was presented, which took on topics about the environment, land, and its biogeochemical cycle, learning something new in ways we do not expect can prove to be important and fun. We hope that the information provided was helpful and at the same time tickles your intellectual fancy and clicks your intrigue.